April 10th, another episode of Stand Tall. We're in Chapter 9, The Art of War, The Army on the March, verse 35. The sight of men whispering together in small knots or speaking in subdued tones points to disaffection among the rank and file. 36. Too frequent rewards signify that the enemy is at the end of his resources. Too many punishments betray a condition of dire distress. Let's go over to an alternate translation really quick and see what kind of insight we can gain. So we were talking about the horses last time. Okay. Master Sun says, when there are murmurings, lapses in duties, and extended conversations, the loyalty of the group has been lost. Mei Yao Chen says, murmurings means people spitting out their true feelings. Lapses in duties means negligence on the job. As for extended conversations, why would the strong fear the alienation of the group? Wang Chi says, murmurings describe talk of true feelings. Lapses in duties indicate trouble with superiors. When the military leadership has lost the people's loyalty, they talk to each other frankly about the trouble with their superiors. Master Sun says, when they give out numerous rewards, it means they are at an impasse. When they give out numerous punishments, it means they are worn out. Dumu says, when the force of their momentum is exhausted, they give repeated rewards to please their soldiers, lest they rebel in mass. When the people are worn out, they do not fear punishment, so they are punished repeatedly so as to terrorize them. Mei Yao Chen reflects, when people are so worn out that they cannot carry out orders, they are punished again and again to establish authority. So, that is insight into human nature, of the soldiers, of knowing the condition of your men, and knowing that when your men are exhausted or need to incentivize them get across the finish line, these are kind of the things that at the end of the day always happen in some form or fashion. And it's a way of, just it repeated itself enough to be written down as something that is to be observed in the enemy, and also within oneself and within one's organization. Are your men, are you rewarding too much or are you punishing too much, and where is that balance at, and what does that mean when you catch yourself in that fight, I guess, of am I rewarding too much or am I not punishing enough, or what is the work culture like? And that also has to do with the way that the workplace culture is in the society at the time. And I mean, of course, humans tend towards laziness, and so that's why we have quotes from Bill Gates about, like, I always pick the lazy guy to do the job because he's going to find the best way to do it, with the least amount of effort, etc. And so when you just kind of like, when you like aim that lens over, just like as Sun Tzu has so long ago, putting that lens over it, knowing that there's only like one cure or two cures for laziness, right? Incentivization or punishment. And incentive, depending on what the incentive looks like from Sun Tzu's perspective, right, from his studying of it, is exactly that. Is humans tend towards laziness, and when it's time to fight or cross the finish line, you're going to have to galvanize your team in whatever way possible. Anyone who's been on a sports team has been in the locker room at at between periods, or halftime or whatever, and felt the atmospheric difference between being in the winning seat and winning going into the break, or having to come back from a loss, and the emotions of it are very much amplified. Um, and so it's trying to look at it from that perspective. Okay, April 10th, out of the Daily Stoic. Now we're going to go check out some Western Stoicism and see how we can blend it with the ancient Eastern warfare philosophy. Judgments cause disturbance. It isn't events themselves that disturb people, but only their judgments about them. Epictetus and Curating 5. The samurai swordsman Musashi made a distinction between our perceiving eye and our observing eye. The observing eye sees what is, the perceiving eye sees what things supposedly mean. Which one do you think causes us the most anguish? An event is inanimate, it's objective. It simply is what it is. That's what our observing eye sees. This will ruin me. How could this have happened? It's so and so's fault. That's our perceiving eye at work, bringing disturbance with it and blaming it on the event. And so I think that is essentially what is is happening with what Sun Tzu is saying, trying to, again, from the last couple of days, it's been this yin and yang discussion, right? Of like this balance, and then even going into the Wu Zi and the methods of the Sema and some of the other videos we've done, those generally have the way or the Tao, right? And talks about the yin and the yang, and like there's always a little bit of each one in the other one, and more specifically the yin and the yang between government and the people and the military, right? And I love how some of the Art of War does talk about when the government representing the people and the people are not aligned anymore. Who does the military align with? And so, that's all very great introspection, especially seeing as one of the themes that kind of became relevant is the history repeating itself, and just studying the things and the times and the iterations of the past in order to pass on this wisdom and package it in such a way like Sun Tzu did. And so the Stoicism lens tells us that it is about the perception. It's about the perception. And so, like, what did we perceive in the enemies or in our organization? And not just like, oh, like, this is great to know. Like, when my people are, like, when people are tired and they're getting punished, or like there's too many incentives, that means like things are going back. I mean, like, so there's a lot of like not anthropology, sociology, I guess, kind of into the equation, but like more microcosmic in the sense of war, and strategies of war, as opposed to what the Stoic teaching is trying to say. It's all about how you interpret that, and that, at the end of the day, is what flavors whether it's a positive or a negative, and from there we get the end.